It is Thursday, August 1st, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Tommy along for the ride as well. Ton to get to as my man is back on the West Coast. How was your road trip? Was it nice hanging out with the boys?
It was nice hanging out with the boys. I love New York City. I had a great time in Detroit. Everything was good, but Chris, I just love being home with my family,
I know
bro.
you
So I got
do.
to see my kids this morning. You know how it is.
Yeah. Did you bring
Give
Teddy a big old
a hug.
birthday gift?
I did. He's big into the City Connect jerseys, so I got him
Oh.
the Dodgers City Connect and also the Tampa Bay Rays City Connect from the MLB store in New York. He's very happy. I made him breakfast this morning. All the good.
Oh,
I'm back.
I love that. That's
I'm
a
back.
good pappy. Good pappy. Nice work on
Yeah.
that part. All right, we're going to get it going with a little tip of the cap. We'll talk about the Yankees dismantling of the Phillies in a second, but first, I think the Phillies' lone win came courtesy of their stud, their mascot, the Philly Fanatic. Garrett Cole tossed him a ball, asked him to sign it. He sure signed it, all right. It said, no, go Phils. And then he made Garrett Cole come out and pick it up, and Cole read it and the whole bit. It was cute. So kind of a tip of the cap, not only to the Philly Fanatic for staying in character, but for Garrett Cole playing along. I like that.
Garrett Cole showing his sweet side, you gotta
Mhm.
love it. The Philly Fanatic, you know what? The problem I have with him is he'll play along with everybody. Like he doesn't care. He's just looking to get that TV time.
Mhm.
So sometimes I like him, sometimes I'm like, okay, it's enough. But to see Garrett Cole kind of like messing around a little bit, that's
Good.
out of character.
Refreshing.
I like it. Yeah.
Refreshing. Did you ever have a good interaction with the Fanatic, either while you were a Philly or elsewhere?
Of course, like I met the guy. Like,
Oh.
excuse me, there's nobody in there. It's just the
What?
Fanatic.
I'm confused.
No, he's cool. Like I like the Fanatic. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but
Yeah. I can't tell you which mascot I had one time, but I was at a stadium and the guy came up and he was like, this is what, 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. He's like, I really like your show. You and Millar do a really good job. And it's weird when you hear somebody in a mascot uniform talk to you in just a regular voice.
I like the Fanatic, and I also like Orbit in Houston.
Oh, love Orbit.
Yeah.
Oh, Orbit.
Orbit can get a little annoying too. Like you're out there trying to stretch, he's trying to mess with you and say, "Hey,
Yeah, I
dude, like,
mean,
I gotta get ready for this daily ball game here."
kind of his job. Kind of his
Yeah.
job. All right, we're going to start in the American League East. Tight race. Yankees sweep the Phils. What a nice day for DJ LeMahieu. It's been a rough go for him this year, but he had a grand slam, 6 RBI. Speaking of 4-run homers,
Holiday drills it, right field, down the line, grand slam! The happiest of holidays!
Attaway, the happiest of holidays for Jackson, his first big fly. Sometimes I do like calling it a 4-run homer. Sometimes I like changing it up. I don't have to always.
That was interesting when I saw the email with the 4-run homer.
Yeah.
You don't really ever hear it called that. So you know what? I think that you're onto something, maybe.
Thank you. So that's nice for him. Obviously, his first turn up in the big leagues was rough. I'm sure it felt good for him to do that on the time that he returned. But now we've got 2+ months to go in this division. Half game separates the two teams. There won't be any other major moves made, we would presume, because the trade deadline has come and gone. Who's got the edge down the stretch between the O's and the Yankees?
I think it's really close, Chris. And I don't want to hear that, but I think that's the truth. It's a very close race. I think both these teams are really good. I think if I had to pick one, I'm going to go Baltimore right now, just because I feel like there's less question marks or less things that need to happen for them to continue playing, good baseball. I think the Yankees, we've seen Volpe, turn it on over the last, 4 or 5 games. That's like a really, really welcome sight for them. Jazz Chisholm needs to continue to kind of like ball out. Like it's great they got Stanton back. Garrett Cole, we'll see how he responds to like the fatigue that he's been experiencing. We got the whole Clay Holmes situation going on with the Yankees. Can they turn it on and just become that team? Of course, their schedule in August is like ridiculous. Like the teams that they're playing, I believe they only have maybe 2 series against teams above 500. Like they're going to go in August. So that's one point, I guess, for the Yankees. But if you're asking me between those two teams for the more sure thing, I think I'm going to go with Baltimore.
I'll be on the other side of this. I know the Yankees have just been horrible since like early to mid-June, and then over the last week kind of turned it on. I'm not going to say that the Jazz Chisholm thing kind of changed the mojo in the dugout, but perhaps it did. I think just as important, if not more important, has been now the return of Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, one guy can make a huge difference, particularly in that lineup, because it's just been Soto and Judge, and everybody else, it's just been, it's been yuck. So if you get that now, with that being said, I do like Baltimore's depth significantly better, right? They've got more than double the number of regulars who have an OPS over 750 than the Yankees do. I do worry about the Orioles starting rotation. I know people blasted me in the comments and in the chat saying, you ripped on Mike Elias and the Orioles for not going to get a stud starting pitcher. They got a guy who's going to help them not only this year and next year and Rodgers and all that stuff. Fine, like I said, but I thought there were other guys to be had, whether the other team's asking price was too much or the other teams didn't want to trade him. I understand. Takes two to tango. But this is the Baltimore team where I was like, let's go get it this year. Let's not win another 100 games and then peter out in the playoffs. I also worry more significantly about their back end of the bullpen than I do, even though Clay Holmes has not been great. I worry more about Craig Kimbrell. I really do. And that's tough for me because I've enjoyed watching Kimbrell for an awfully long time. It's just like if it's 4-3 in a meaningful game and they give him the ball, not that I feel much better about Clay Holmes, but I feel a little bit better.
Here's what we can hope for, Chris, because I think we're both on the same page. I think these two teams are, the record is showing they're throughout the year, like they're equally constructed. I'll take Baltimore's lineup depth. There's some things I like better about the Yankees. There is a 3-game set, second to last, the penultimate series of the year. Let's just hope that they're as close as they are right now when it comes to that point, because that's just good baseball. That's what we all want.
Yep. And just because I like the Yankees, it's like this much more. But I think this will come down now. How many other teams will be in the mix for the wild card? Like, will those games, could they be the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs? I don't think it's going to be that significant. I think the difference could be getting a bye or having to play in the wild card round, which
nobody wants to see my Twins in the wild card round.
No. I want to get back to the Jackson Holiday home run. When you're, when you hit your first homer in the show, you always want to get that ball back. He did, courtesy of Tim and Wyatt Satwell, and Jackson had a chance to meet him afterward. This was cool.
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
I'm Jackson.
Jackson, congratulations, sir. That was a great hit, man.
What's up, buddy? Oh, thank you. I got you something.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That is awesome. What do you say?
Thank you.
Did you want to ask him anything?
Thank you.
How's the Gatorade feel?
Cold. Really cold.
Dude, I love the mind of a 5-year-old.
I do too. That's great. He's just so happy. He's like, doesn't really understand the significance of what's going on, but he knows that's a big leaguer. He knows that he's got this ball. I'm pretty sure he's probably like, I really don't want to give this ball up, but if you give me a bat, that's cool. Like, yeah, I love it.
And you get to take a picture and shake a hand of a major leaguer at 5 years old. Sold. I'm in. Here, you want your baseball?
Yeah.
Take your baseball. You did all the heavy lifting anyway. Oh, one other note. Jackson Holiday wore his hat backward. Not a big deal. Be who you are. Not a big deal. Be who you are. Padres take it to the Dodgers for a second straight night. They sweep the mini 2-game series. San Diego now just 4.5 back of L.A. Arizona only 5 out. This year we thought that nobody was going to press the Dodgers at all. Do we still believe it?
I mean, I think they're getting pressed right now, Chris. This is the pressing. San Diego, they win the season series for the first time since 2014, I believe the stat is. Preller goes and makes a bunch of moves, solidifies that bullpen, which, this is at this time of the year, then into October. I think that's one of the most important cogs of a team is what you can do in the late innings if you can hold the lead. And I think they have guys that are able to do that. And I think we're seeing a little bit of vulnerability with the Dodgers. We always just expect Clayton Kershaw to go out there and do it, especially during the regular season. They were all over him yesterday. And, second start back, we'll see how he goes down the stretch. But I think because of, the youth in the Dodgers rotation, some of the uncertainty around it, I can see how Dodgers fans could be sweating it a little bit because the lead was at one point 10, 12 games in that division. To be able to go and lose a series like that, understand where you're at in the standings. Like I think they are going to sweat. And if it's not now, I mean, I think it is now. Like they're sweating right now, Chris.
I'm shocked. I even think I said it earlier in the week that, well, it doesn't really matter because the Dodgers are just going to waltz away with the division. Then I didn't realize I didn't check the rear view mirror, that objects are or the side view mirror, objects are much closer than they appear. Well, here they are. And by the way, I came on our live stream, our trade deadline live stream. Remember this a couple days ago? And I said, with less than an hour to go before the deadline, I said that the Padres were better constructed to make the World Series than the Dodgers after all the moves A.J. Preller had made. I said that is pending a huge move by the Dodgers, which they eventually made with Jack Flaherty. And so now I will flip that back to the Dodgers. But, man, I do like the way the Padres are built right now. And I don't think they're going anywhere. And Arizona, I'm fascinated by because I keep hearing that Merrill Kelly and Eduardo Rodriguez are close. And they can draw on that experience of last year where they had to get up and go toward the end of the year. And then
Agreed.
So this is, once again, good for baseball. All right, let's play it this way. Is it this close with 2 weeks to go in the season?
I think so, Chris.
I think so,
really
too.
do. I mean, Machado's been absolutely mashing the baseball. Tatis is going to end up coming back, sooner than later. And I mean, again, like this is what we want as baseball fans. Like nobody wants to see the Dodgers go run it, get the bye, lose, then kind of complain about the bye again. They need to be playing meaningful games in September, and I think they're going to. I think this is going to come down to it. Where is Arizona in this? I just had it up.
They're 5 back.
5 back. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean it's all right there for the taking. As Aaron Boone says, it's right there in front of us, and it is. By the way, Clayton Kershaw, first time ever in a regular season start, he didn't strike out a hitter.
Yes, I saw that. So only 2 whiffs on the night.
I've told you this, man. The Dodgers have a lot of questions to answer. A lot of them.
They're going to be relying heavily on some young guys. And then guys, Glasnow's thrown a lot of innings this year. I think Flaherty, like that was an absolute necessity of a move for them going forward.
Yeah, and I think he's going to get his first start Saturday in Oakland. So we'll get a good look at him.
Hey, you want to go to the game on Monday?
No.
Oh, I think I might mosey on down there. It's versus the Phillies.
I've got some NFL duties coming up, my man.
Oh.
Yeah. These are my 3 busiest months, August, September, October, because I love it. We get down to crunch time in baseball. NFL gets started. I'm a happy camper. By the way, Padres' next 4 series, pair against Pittsburgh, who's obviously very much in contention. 1 against Colorado, 1 against Miami. Let's check back in 2 weeks in the middle of August, see where we are.
Dude, I just love like how much the Padres had to reduce payroll.
Yeah.
They traded Juan Soto, but they went. I think the trade for Dylan Cease, like prior to the year, is looking like obviously it's a great trade. You're getting Dylan Cease, but for what teams paid for starting pitching at the deadline, it's looking like they actually got a bargain on Dylan Cease. The way he's pitched too, it's you keep saying that Preller is GMing for his like life, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the case, dude.
I do.
I think he's doing a great job.
But that doesn't mean those are 2 different things. I agree. I think he's doing a great job. But I think part of it is
doing a great job. What?
And I think that he is saving his ass. I think he is doing it. I think he is saving his job.
So let's say they go and have they get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they don't even win the division, but they get into the playoffs as a wild card, have a hard-fought series in like a DS round and lose. You think he's going to get fired?
No. I think because of the moves, and I think if they had gone 82-80, he would have been out. But I don't think that's going to happen. That's what I'm saying. I said I think he was GMing for his job, and I think that's part of the reason he has traded 12 of the top 15 prospects in that organization over the last year or whatever it's been.
Musgrove coming back. Yamamoto starting to throw off the mound as well. Like these are all things that are going to meaningfully impact the race going down the stretch. Obviously, if Yamamoto can come back and be who he was, we'll see. And if Musgrove can come back and bolster that rotation, like that's a lot of things are going on right now. It's not
There are.
just, especially for these two teams. It's not like roster set. Let's fucking lock it in. Like there's people coming back. There's lots. I'm excited. Do
Yeah.
they play at the end of the season?
The Padres, they do have one more 3-game set left.
I'm looking right now. It is. It's the penultimate series.
Yeah.
Padres are at LA, at Arizona to end the year. That's going to be fun.
Good. Let's
Let's
go.
let's go to those games. I'm going to be, first of all, Padres fans.
Mhm.
They yell at me all the time.
Oh, yeah. You got a Twin series down there, don't you?
I got a Twin series, and then I'm going, I believe, when they play the Mets, with like my youth team. We're all going to go down.
I love that. Maybe we could do a baseball today down there. A live event.
Padres, that's the name of their team. They get a lot of flack in LA because they're the Padres.
Yes, they do.
So hopefully we get some love shown to us.
Interesting. Hey, the return of school is right around the corner. We're taking our youngest son to college in a few weeks. I know the Plouffe's kids are headed back to school. You know what every kid needs, whether they're 9-year-old Teddy or 18-year-old Brady? They need earbuds. And so for this fall, Raycon has the best-selling everyday earbuds around. With Raycon's upgraded everyday earbuds, now you also get active ergonomic design, multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once, and active noise cancellation. Just think about that. The middle point lets you pair with 2 devices at once. How often have you had it connected to your phone and then you want to listen to something on your computer and I have to disconnect the Bluetooth? You don't have to do that. You can connect to 2 devices at once. It is so nice. In addition to that, it's got 32-hour battery life. It's got a quick charge function, which I love, because how often do you look at your earbuds and you're like, damn it, forgot to charge these things? Well, you get 10 minutes of charging, which will yield 90 minutes of battery. So if you want to go work out and your things aren't ready, you just wait 10 minutes and you get to do your workout and have your Raycon devices. Once again, ergonomic design to comfortably fit the widest range of ears. We all have friends or family members that have those satellite dishes attached to their head, and we have some people who have really tiny ears. They got this whole thing worked out. Plus, they got weatherproof and sweat resistant as well. And for me, the thing I look most forward to when I take my walks in the neighborhood, I open it up, I put it in my ear, and I get this Raycon, and it sounds awesome. So head on over to buyraycon.com/today. You'll get 20 to 40% off site-wide. That's right. You're going to get up to 40% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/today. That is buyraycon, RAYCON.com/today. Enjoy the sights and the sounds of your life. Braves take care of business in Milwaukee thanks to the law firm of Olson and Darno. They went back-to-back not once but twice in the win, dropping Milwaukee to 4-13 this season against Atlanta, the Dodgers, and Philly. Is that a big deal or not?
Part of me wants to say yes, and I have to look at this pretty objectively because I think I've said it doesn't mean that much that the Twins haven't beat the Guardians or the Yankees. So if I want to say that for them, I got to say the same thing for Milwaukee. But I'll walk it back a little bit. I think it doesn't mean anything when you play teams in the regular season. I think when you get to the playoffs and you haven't even beat these teams, once, or you've had really bad seasons against them, it has to creep into the mind a little bit. And again, I never played in the postseason, but that's just my thought process. I think the confidence, like if you're a team that owns the other team, the confidence there, like that means something, Chris. So yeah, like you could talk about the way Milwaukee's been playing lately. The series, they didn't win many series at all in July. The offense, I think, has been pretty inconsistent, and their bullpen has been inconsistent as well. But if you're asking me if it means something that they can't beat the teams in front of them, I think it does. And I want to say that it doesn't, but mentally, it has to mean something to these guys.
Okay, so last time I checked, Atlanta, Dodgers, Philly, none of them are in the National League Central. I think it's a great year if the Brewers can somehow make it to the playoffs, which I am worried about. There's a lot of Brewers fans that have said, oh, Rose, you're a hater. You love dogging them. All I'm telling you is the truth, and I can feel the same way about my Guardians. Is that sometimes I feel like they're doing a little bit with smoke and mirrors, right? Like there's not tremendous depth in the rotation. Tobias Myers has been a godsend for them. I don't know what this Frankie Montas trade is all about. I have zero idea whatsoever. Hopefully, Savali can give you enough innings. He's pitched okay. He's done some nice things since he got traded from Tampa, and hopefully that helps out. Not having Yelich down the stretch, who knows if or when he's going to come back. That's a huge issue. William Contreras, no power over the last 2 months. He's hit 3 homers since the beginning of June. It's going to be a dogfight to get in, so I don't even worry about this 4-13 against those big swingers.
I think they're going to get in. That's why I'm saying yes. I think it is worrisome because, again, like I said, it's just the psyche of a baseball player to, you understand what happened during the season. But, I mean, yeah, getting there is going to be not easy. Like I said, I think they do end up making the playoffs. But they're a team. It's interesting. Like, when they have a bunch of guys struggling, they still seem to be able to get the job done. Although, like I mentioned, this month, they went 2-5-1 in the series. So you could chalk it up to a bad month. You could say, hey, all these things are finally catching up to them. Some injuries in the bullpen, but you get Devin Williams back. So the Brewers are always kind of an enigma to me. Just when you start to count them out, they turn things around, find somebody to step up and do something extremely well one side of the ball. Like they're a team that usually does that.
They have one player with an OPS, one regular, I should say, with an OPS over 785, and he is currently on the injured list. He's a former league MVP. So somebody's going to pick it up. We'll see. Hey, I counted out the Mets on May. I counted out the Mets on May 29th. Look where they are now. So Brewers, let's get you going. Let's give you a little bit of that Rose magic. Speaking of magic, there's none on the south side of Chicago. I am wearing a White Sox hat, bless you. I am wearing a White Sox hat because I'm trying to give you something decent here. This has been despicable. 17 straight losses. The good news is they can't extend that streak on Thursday. They've got an off day. So that's nice. 17 in a row they have lost after getting swept by Kansas City. Now, I want you to listen to a segment from 670 The Score in Chicago. This is the Parkins and Spiegel show.
I had heard that Pedro Grifol, the first game back after the All-Star break, addressed the team and said to them that they could be the worst team ever in baseball. And if they went down as the worst team ever in baseball with the worst record, that they would be remembered, that the players would be remembered as the guys who were responsible for being the worst team ever in baseball. Now, I was told he clearly did this in trying to motivate his players, but several of the veterans in that White Sox clubhouse were angered by the way that Pedro talked to them about this and trying to put it on them. And some of the veterans tried to talk to Pedro about how, look, this is not how we should be going about things at this point of the year, and you're being a little hard on us, and that those conversations went just okay, is what I was told.
Your reaction?
I mean, I need to be in the clubhouse and hear the context and how he said it to really have a accurate reaction, Chris. That's the bottom line. You have these meetings and a coach might have, in his head something that he wants to get across. He wants to motivate, but when he says it, it might come out the wrong way. It might rub people the wrong way. Or it could have been great. And a couple guys just, were a little, hurt about it. So again, without context, it's really hard to speak on it. Do I think the players are going to get remembered for this, epic season? Like, not really. Like, maybe some of the guys, like maybe people remember, like, man, Eloy Jimenez just really never got it going for the White Sox. But it's going to be the franchise that gets remembered. It's going to be, that's who I think is going to get remembered. It's not going to be the so-and-so, Andrew Vaughn. It's going to be the 2024 White Sox. That's who are going to get remembered for this disastrous of a season. And yeah, look, they didn't have the squad, Chris. Bottom line is they just didn't have the squad. So I've been on bad teams before, and yeah, you have to perform. But if you are going up against a team and you're just like, undermanned. You don't have the weapons that these other teams have. Like it's an uphill battle every single day. So yeah, you have to take some responsibility. The players have to take, a lot of the responsibility, but the front office has to take responsibility as well. And you know what? Pedro Grifol and his coaching staff have to take some responsibility as well. So it's not just on the players. I think it definitely lands on the players, to a certain degree there. But I don't think individually it's like that guy was on that team. It's gonna be no, that's the 2024 White Sox were abysmally bad.
Yeah, you're not even going to remember who was on the squad because most people don't know who's on the team.
Yes.
They are a horrible, horrible watch. You've done a couple of those series, haven't you?
It's really bad. It reminds me of the reverse. I talk about the 2014-15 Royals, frequently because they were a very good team, won the World Series. If you had a lead, or if they had a lead after the sixth inning, it was game over. It's almost the opposite for the White Sox. Like their bullpen comes in, and it's like, here we go. Like, eventually you're going to score some runs against them. Eventually they're going to make a mistake, whether it be on the base pass or there's a lot of things that this team does very poorly that just, vault you back into games.
This is, I can't imagine being a White Sox fan right now. The only thing worth watching, I tell you this, like at least twice a month, is the White Sox postgame show. Because after they lose, I just want to hear Chuck and Ozzie and whomever else, whether it's Podsednik or Gordon Beckham or Frank Tom or whomever is on that show that day, opine about what a disaster this has become. A couple of years ago, didn't you have them in the World Series?
2021, I think
so.
Said they're going to win the World Series, yeah.
And it wasn't a bad pick because they were talented.
Well, it was because I had Milwaukee versus Chicago, and neither of them made the playoffs. So
I get it, but it wasn't. People weren't like, "What are you doing?" But now you look at this franchise, you're like, "Dude, they've won 27 games. We are in August. They've won 27 games, and yeah."
The interesting thing is because of the way the draft lottery is now set up, like it's not super beneficial to lose all these games. Like you're not necessarily going to get a high pick. And I don't know where they drafted last year, but I believe if you draft within the top 5, you can't draft within the top 10 the following year.
That's where they are.
What are they going to do? Like,
I don't know.
I actually applaud. I applaud Chris Getz for holding on to Crochet and Luis Robert. I think it was the right move. Not, the deadline forcing his hand to make a move maybe he wasn't comfortable with. Like I'm happy that he waited and he's going to go into the offseason with more time to figure out what the heck they're going to do over the next 3 or 4 years. So obviously they're going to recoup some, and they have recouped some prospects and some pieces in their minor league system that they can, dream upon or think that this is going to set up a window down the road. But yeah, you can't rely on the draft anymore, really.
Did you see Miguel Vargas have one clank off his mitt left field?
I did not.
They were like, he's already assimilating to the White Sox way.
Oh, no.
And one other thing, Garrett Crochet.
Was he the biggest loser of the trade deadline?
Was he? Yeah, I would say
at least he's going to get like consistent playing time now. I guess you could think of it that way, but shoot, man.
Garrett Crochet also yesterday met with the media. It sounded like for the first time since these demands came out, and he said, yeah, well, I hope everybody understands where I was coming from, but this isn't the reason that I wasn't traded.
Yeah.
I think it was the reason he wasn't traded.
I think it's one of. I also think, again, like it was just an overwhelming trade deadline for Chris Getz.
Okay. Guess if that's the way we're going to go with it, sure. What a disaster. Can we just play with 29 teams for the last 2 months?
The Twins go, I believe that's their next series.
It is.
Yeah.
By the way, when you are in the other dugout and you know that a team is on a long losing streak, I imagine there's some pressure in that other dugout.
I think you're pretty happy. They do get Crochet, and I will say your Guardians keep freaking lucking out, dude. Like the Tigers pull Flaherty. So against that could have been a start against the Guardians. They ended up having to go a bullpen game there. That's
Lucking out. Where else did they luck out, by the way? Go ahead, list them.
we had a talk about this. Some of the beat writers and I forget what they were saying, but they mentioned some other instances that I wasn't necessarily aware of, and now that I've had time away, I forgot.
What happened to the people being so nice up there in Minnesota? It sounds like you all are trying to throw hatchets our direction.
Yeah, because everyone's upset about the trade deadline. Lack of.
Well, go complain to your front office. Don't complain to other organizations that were busy moving and shaking. God,
it's just jealousy coming out, Chris.
I guess so. That's it. All right. So, what are your self-care non-negotiables in life? Maybe you never skip leg day or therapy day. Now, when your schedule is packed, you got your kids' activities, you got a big-time project at work, and more, it's easy to let your own priorities slip. And even when we know what makes us happy, sometimes it is very, very hard to make time to find it. But when you feel like you have no time to yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. I have been in and out of therapy ever since I was a little kid. Wasn't one particular incident that led me there. My parents always felt like it was important to discuss things that was going on in my life outside of the family dynamic, have a fresh set of ears on things, and I really believe it today. I'm a big believer. I pass it along to the rest of my family, and it has helped. Nice thing is, it's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient and flexible and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a really brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. So stop comparing, start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/baseball today. You're going to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball today. Believe me, it'll open up doors for your entire life. You will feel better. You will be more productive. And isn't that what it is all about? All right, finally, congrats to Michael McGreevy. He crushed it in his big league debut for the St. Louis Cardinals against the Texas Rangers. Right-hander gave up just 1 run in 7 innings, and he was dominant. As for his arrival to the show, that was a little clunky.
I get a call from Ben Johnson. I'm like, well, I just got traded. Like, all right. And he's like, Mac, I got good news. I'm like, well, he knows I'm from Southern California, so maybe it's a team out there. He's like, no, even better. You're going to the bigs. I'm like, that's a lot better.
That's good. That's good. Ben Johnson, of course, the manager of his minor league team there in Memphis. What was your call? You got a call?
It was Tom Nieto was my manager in AAA, and it was
Tom Nieto was your manager?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
How do you know him?
He was a big leaguer.
Yeah. God, I hope I'm getting that name right. It is. It's right.
Yeah.
I remember that. And then he kind of like acted like I was in trouble. You know, get here. I was like, well, I don't do anything, bro. And he gave me the call. It was I believe that's who it was. I hope I'm not getting that wrong. It's a long time ago, Chris. This was 14 years ago that I got my call to the show.
Yeah. There he is.
It wasn't anything special. You know, he let me know. I was excited about it. Called my parents, did that whole thing, which was cool. They like rushed out to get there. Played 3 games and got sent down. So it wasn't like a movie, you know?
Oh my God, you played 3 games and got sent down?
It was back in the day when the IL, formerly the DL, they had a 7-day, and JJ Hardy had skipped 4 games. They retroacted him for some wrist issue. So after the 3rd day, he came back, and I got my butt back to Rochester.
Did you get to start any of those games?
Yeah, I started every single one, I think.
That's short?
That's short. And I had my debut was fantastic, Chris. We beat the Brewers. We crushed them. I got 2 hits, drove in some runs. It was awesome. But the call was, I didn't have anything special.
Sorry. Go back and listen to Hedges. We put a clip out a long time ago. I'll just give you a quick synopsis. Hedges was on a bus, and the manager was Pat Murphy, the minor league manager.
Love
so
that.
he comes on the bus, and there's like law enforcement that comes on, and they go, is there an Austin Hedges on the bus? And Hedges like, holy shit. They're like, we heard that you were at a bar last night and there was an incident. He's like, no, that wasn't me, blah, blah, blah. And finally, Murphy broke the news to him. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Tom Nieto was my manager. He was the one that gave me the call. No funny business, really.
Okay. By the way, Tom Nieto, negative 2.3 career WAR
I got his stats up right now.
in 7 seasons.
I liked him.
Okay.
He's always good to me.
That's nice. All right. We are back at it again on Friday. So make sure you tune in as we get you all set for the baseball weekend. Plouffe will be happy and refreshed now that he's around his family and not, what?
No, I love it. I'm excited. I'm going to cook some meat for my family tonight, just like a man. I'm going to chop some wood. I'm going to start the fire. I'm going to cook some meat over the fire, people.
You have an axe?
I do have an axe, yeah.
You chop wood?
Yeah.
You don't buy it pre-chopped?
We harvested this oak after the heavy rains. It's California white oak. We rented a splitter, split the logs, they dried out. Now I don't have to like chop a big stump down or anything. I have to kind of split it to get it going.
Okay.
So nothing laborious, but it's fun, man.
Laborious. Okay. Well, that'll do it for today, boys and girls. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our amazing intern, Tommy Young, for our wood-chopping, uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday here on Baseball Today.